CEO of your football team. Wanted to take a chance, and give you an opportunity to hear my voice, see my face, and let you know that I know today is a challenge for a lot of you. I wanted to acknowledge that as well. Our chair, Janice Agrius, was set to join us as she is having a bit of technical difficulties. So it's not as though she isn't intending to join us. She's having an issue getting on, as did I. I had to switch computers to join you. I am joining you from Phoenix today, which is where my family and I are moving from. I have been here since the 22nd of March, believe it or not, because the border has been closed. My wife and I have 3 daughters and have sold our house, and our belongings actually arrived in Edmonton yesterday. So I guess we're half Canadian at this point, and looking forward to being full Canadian on Thursday. Our intent is to cross the border on Thursday, which we should be able to do with my work permit and our children. So that's a little bit about me, a little bit where I am, a little bit about where I am and when I'll be there, and looking forward to continuing to be a part of the community. There's Janice. Welcome, Janice.
Thanks, Chris. It took me a little while to get on this, but I made it.
Yeah, I was just explaining to the group that you had intended to join us, that you were having some technical difficulties as I did. So obviously Janice has taken the time to make sure that we take care of you, and we want you to know that we understand where you are, how you feel, and we really need you now more than ever. This is a big change for the organization. We know how important the team is to you. We know how important the city is to you, and we know how important this league is to you. So we're asking you to unite with us and be a part of that unity and help us be rid of the divisiveness. With that said, we also wanted to share with you what we said, excuse me, to the media today, what Janice said to the media, what I said to the media. So we'll be reading our statements to you that we read to everyone today so that you're completely informed. And I will do my best, if we have time at the end, if I can figure out the functionality around the questions I'm seeing. Happy to try and answer some of the questions you may have. And if I can't do that, I'll try and give you some main questions that we received today and try to get those answered for you as well. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our chair, Janice Agrius.
Thanks, Chris. So as everybody already likely knows by now, this is a very important day in the history of our football club. As we announced earlier today, the board has made the decision to discontinue the use of the word Eskimo in its name. I can tell you that making this decision has been incredibly difficult. Like all of you, the Edmonton Eskimos has always been a part of my life. To me and the rest of the board, the name Eskimos has always meant tough, resilient, and never give up. It also has meant community and respect. In recent years, however, as a board, we have come to understand the concerns with the name. Our board and our management have spent countless hours over several years seeking to understand the views of the Inuit and the community at large. Our process included extensive travel to many northern communities. It also included formal opinion research to understand the views of Inuit Canadians. As we have shared previously, there's no consensus among the Inuit, just as there's no consensus among other Canadians. But 2020 is already a year of unprecedented upheaval. Our most recent opinion research shows that views are shifting quickly. People who defended the name only a year are less comfortable with it now. Institutions are being renamed around the world. And so the change to our name is part of a sweeping societal change. This team is so much more than its name. Changing our name will not change our core identity or the values we stand for. We are in very difficult times, and we will need your support more than ever as we work through this change. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Janice. And as you heard, Janice has a deep connection to the name, as we know many of you do. As she outlined for you, her father was a member of the Nervous Nine, so she has grown up with only this name. And as all of you all understand, you can go many lifetimes without having an opportunity to be a part of a new change and a new name, and that's why we're asking for your support in doing so. I wanted to read you as well what I said just behind Janice earlier today for the media session. Today's news, as you can imagine, it can only be viewed as one of the most monumental and historic occasions in the history of our club. When you look at what's going on around our world and here in the great province of Alberta, through the wonderful city of Edmonton, and all the way down to our team, as Janice mentioned, things have been challenging recently for sure, and we know they have been for you as well. Edmonton is not a very big place, and it's pretty far north, but every sports fan in North America has heard of Edmonton. They know it as one of the truly great sports cities. Edmonton people support their teams. They come out to games. They wear their colors, and they stand by their teams through the winning streaks and through the dry spells as well. I think we have had the best fans not only in this league, but any league for that matter. That's why I feel confident that our fans, such as you, will support us through this historic name change. This is a tough time for longtime fans, no question. But here's the thing. We are all a team. And our team and our great city, our team and our game day itself, I should say, are designed around uniting people. The word team literally means two or more people working together. Our game is designed to bring those people together for a half day so that you can drop your fears, your worries, your concerns, and leave your struggles behind. Now more than ever, we all need a mental break, and we need unity and not divisiveness, and that's where we hope we come in, and we need your support. So what happens next as I see some of the questions popping up? To be honest with you, we haven't gotten very far down that path. I can't give you a specific timeline or a specific process, because I can truly say from my seat through the board and our employees that we've had involved, this has literally taken every ounce of fiber and energy we've had every day for the last month, and now we will turn our attention to the name itself. The chance to choose a new name for the future of this team and the future of this city with those Edmonton values is a great opportunity. And while we don't have a new name yet, the list of possibilities is growing every day. Certainly, if you listen to 630 Ched and you have those barbecues that are properly social distance, you hear and see the conversation around that. And we're excited about those new possibilities, and we're listening to all of it, and we want to engage with you, the fans, and our partners to pick our team name. We do have to ask for your patience. As Janice mentioned, COVID has really hit us hard financially, and just like every sport and entertainment business, it will take time to change all the places that the name is mentioned, and we are working on that process as funds allow. We're also looking forward to getting back in front of you at the Brick Field. Whenever that happens, that's when we want to launch our new identity. I can tell you that we sure do love the green and gold. We sure do love the double E, just as you do. And it's early days, but we hope to keep that iconic logo and those colors as well. Finally, I want to express our strongest gratitude to you and our sponsors. You guys have stuck through us through thick and thin, as have our sponsors, and through this difficult conversation that we know we literally couldn't be here without you. So we just ask you to continue to show more than just moral support, if you may, the next several months as we work our way through this. Branding is not cheap, and we need to get this right. We need to do that with great companies and great supporters like you behind us. And to everyone on our football team as well, we ask for their support and certainly ask you as well from an alumni perspective, and to our players and through our players, that you'll support them as well. Lead us through a time of prosperity, not one of despair, and a future upon of which the legacy can stand forever. We haven't forgotten about the blood, sweat, and tears that all of you have given us in the past, and the legacy of the name will certainly live on forever and be ingrained on our hearts and our minds forever. Just keep in mind, the Knothole Gang will still be the Knothole Gang, and the green and gold will continue to prevail. We do sincerely ask you now more than ever to come be together with us, be united, unite again for our players, for the alumni, for this great city and your great team. The memories are always going to be there, and we hope you will too. We need your help in building this new legacy and a new dynasty with a new name, and that's where we want you to be a part of it. Let me just try and answer a few of questions that you may have. I see Dave Brodeur, 52-year season ticket holder, Janice, and they say they will continue. That's echoes much of the sentiment we've heard. People have had tickets for decades, and so I would ask you to continue that legacy. One of the first things I learned when I got here is people like Janice, who was brought to games by her mother and dad, and then she began to come, and now her children come, and the legacy and the heritage of our brand and our great sport and our great team has been passed down, And we want you to continue that. If you've had tickets for several decades, please be a part of what we're doing in the future. Please know that we hear you, we understand how you feel, and we're asking you to continue the legacy and help us build that new fan base as well that may come in behind you long after myself and Janice and some of the rest of us are gone. Janice, one of the questions from Kim Duguay, are you looking to keep the Double E logo? I know I mentioned it earlier, but do you mind expanding on that a little bit?
Well, yeah, Chris, I think as you said, I mean, it's still early days. I mean, all of us, certainly on the board, have an attachment to the Double E logo, so that is our strong leaning. But it's something that we've got to work through, and we'll figure it out as we move through this process.
I think one of the names that I'm seeing pop up in the questions as well, and some emails that I've had are referencing the Empire name. It should be known that we have not registered any names. The Empire was something we registered several years ago, as that was our marketing campaign, as you know, which is now no longer. We understand the disdain and some of the concern around the name Empire, which is why it's one of those things that probably wouldn't resonate. As Janice said, we want to continue with the EE if at all possible, and we're hoping that you will inspire some nice names for us to think about. But there is no leader in the clubhouse. And again, we have not registered for any names because we want to do this process diligently, outline what the process is, and take our time to make the right thing. Let me see if I can find any other questions. Been a season ticket holder for 15 years, Wes Schoenberger. Wes, we appreciate all that you've done. There's a suggestion around the name Emperors as well. So Janice, you want to take a crack at some of these live questions that we're having, and the Edmonton Elite is up next. So clearly people are hinging on the Double E process. And can you explain to them that right now we would continue with that moniker if we play this year, but that it actually doesn't mean anything at this point?
That's right. So I think, as we've said, I mean, we are partial to retaining the Double E logo. So right now, EE will continue to be our logo. The second E at this point, who knows what it will mean. I guess it depends on what we come up with as we go through this process, but we definitely welcome all input.
And so to explain, the process for the decision, it was really around the research that we've done the last several years, going to the northern communities, visiting with the Inuit, doing the same here locally with the Inuit, and then circling back and developing those relationships throughout the last 3 years. And then when you bring it full circle back to the last 15 days, where we did the same thing locally with the community at large, many of you and our partners, and many other segments of society beyond that. And there was a clear distinction in the numbers and how they had changed toward wanting a new name, and how further to that and beyond that, we were close to the potential of a real seismic shift, that the attitude around the name and the want for change was actually growing. And so despite the fact that we're in a crisis financially and still trying to play a season, as you know, you would think, technically speaking, that's the worst time to change a name. And it is, because we have no money coming in and only expense going out. Yet I give the board full credit for not using that as an excuse to push it further. So Janice, anything that you would like to add in terms of the Northern engagement, or anything that you would like to add above and beyond what I've said?
I think the only thing I'd add is that we're really proud of the work that we did. We spent a lot of time, a lot of effort trying to understand the perspective of the Inuit. It was important for us to understand that. And so we're proud of that work. And we've built some great relationships, and we hope that those relationships continue.
And so AC Willard 88, I see your comment, says this is a great opportunity to market to young people. I have 2 kids and they thought the Eskimos name wasn't cool. So we want you to know that on both sides of the coin, we respect the opinions of wherever you may reside. And I also want you to know that we were never looking for a majority or a consensus. We were looking for statistics that we could base factual information off of. And that's what we got within the last 15 days, and frankly, over the last 3 years, that led us to the decision today. And I would use that comment there as a segue into the future. And again, we really need your support to back us and be a part of this. We will not make decisions without taking your input. And again, I don't have a process around that quite yet, but rest assured, from the chair of our board down to my position. We hear you and we're listening, and we will develop a piece for you to be involved in. Any other questions that I can pull here? Janice, maybe take this one. Soccer Veet asks, are you still leaning toward honoring northern communities as we move forward, maybe re-engaging with them?
Yes, I mean, as I indicated, we've developed many great relationships. The northern engagement that we have done to date has been an incredible success, and so we hope to continue with it once it's safe for us to do so.
Awesome, thank you. A couple more questions if you have any, and then we'll hop off here. Kim Duguay, I see you on here a lot. My young kids love the team and feel the pride more than the evil empire. So thank you for sharing. You should have top choices in poll season seat holders for the final decision. We will certainly, again, create a mechanism for you to voice yourself, and we will gladly listen. And then a very interesting question that's a challenging one for both Janice and I, but I'll throw it to you off the cuff first, Janice. Any thoughts around the fight song? John Kirby asks, what's going to happen to the fight song? I would give her a pass here and tell you as fans, we have not gotten anywhere close to having that discussion, but it's an interesting a segue to what do we do with the fight song? Because I know you and I have both thought about it.
I've been thinking about it a lot. I've got some ideas. I think there's some solutions. There's no question that when I think about what names might work, one of the things that has to work is that it should fit the fight song. It's a tradition, and we'll figure it out.
It's one of the greatest things as someone coming new to the community that I found the first game I was at, to the point where I literally FaceTimed to my family when the fight song came on to show them not just the video board, but listen to Brian Hall sing the song. And it's, I think it's one of the greatest things that we have. And certainly, as Janice has alluded to, we will find some solutions around that. It certainly is something that we don't want to die. And I think that's the important part of this. Janice touched on it earlier in her speech. We want to honor not only our past, but our present. We want to have the same honor and dignity toward the discontinuation of our name that we had when we originally took on the name. And that is the honor, the intelligence, the respect, the hardiness, and the resilience of the Inuits. And we want to make sure that we do that going forward as well, and try our best to make sure that we can engage them in their thoughts as well, because we've engaged them in the process on one side, and maybe we need to think deeply about how we do that on the other side. We'll take one more question. Elks would be cool. I can imagine the east and west side of Commonwealth chanting. I will say that Janice is shaking her head. We've both heard that name before, certainly with the national park that's closed. We understand that. Love the sport in the league. Today's news only increases that. And then let's close with this. Are the mascots staying or going? That's a really challenging question, and I will say one that I haven't had a lot of depth of thought about, not because they're unimportant. It's just one of those things that hasn't crossed my mind yet. But Janice, I assume the answer would be the same. It's all a part of our process and engagement, what the fans want to see and how we can integrate their thoughts into how our future is. Is that fair?
I think that's fair. I mean, we're all very proud of our history and proud of things like our mascots. And so we want to move forward while still recognizing our history. And we're just going to have to work on figuring out a way to do that.
Correct. So with all that being said, we thank you for your support. We're asking for your support going forward. Many of you have let your money ride for this season into next year, and we can't tell you how much we sincerely appreciate that. We do need it. We know tough times are tough for everyone, and certainly we acknowledge that you've left your money on file. The majority, just for your information, of our season seat holders have left their money on file for next year. And again, from Janice and I and the rest of the board and our staff, Janice, we sincerely thank them, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We really appreciate all of the support we've gotten to this point. Has been incredible.
And as we progress, I will close with this. I will give you my word that we'll continue doing this with regularity. How often? I don't want to put a time frame around that at this point, but I will give you my commitment that we will hop on here and update you periodically. We'll try to do it every couple of weeks. I think this has been a good forum. I would ask you all also to spread the word about this so that we can get more to join us. And again, we thank you for all you've done, and we thank you in advance for all you will do. Thank you very much. Have a good night.